Everybody, and welcome to the Bearded Men of Real Estate show. My name's Ray. Joining with me, Dan
Hey,
Lugwood. Say hi, Dan.
hi Dan, how are you guys doing? Such a
Hey,
dumb
but where
joke. I love
where
it.
are you at right now?
Well, I need to update you guys. Since the last episode, I've gone a little nuts. So I kind of got into a little bit, the whole Stranger Thing with the lights and
The
stuff.
lights. Yeah.
So just ignore that. It's totally fine. I'm seeking counseling.
Just stay away from the
Um,
wall.
yeah, it's also just my backyard under my patio cover because it's nice and hot here. So
When you first came live, I was like, man, you're like in a basement or something. But it's much nicer if you can picture a serene yard out in front of you or something there.
yeah, so I'm looking at absolute madness out there. But you guys, please picture lovely grass.
That's right.
Birds chirping, but I'm looking at just madness,
We
just
can hear some
craziness.
birds. There's some birds.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Of course, we are going to jump right into the headlines and talk a little bit about those. Coming up later in the show, though, we're going to talk about Amazon and Walmart and how they want you to let them in your home without you being there. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. We also got an update on Purple Bricks. But first, Dan, why don't you take us straight to the headlines?
All right. Chase teams up with Google to track down where buyers start their house hunt. And this is super interesting to both of us. But Chase and Google took a look at the search behavior of home buyers to find out how they were starting their home search, finding a mortgage, and home equity lines of credits, also called HELOCs. What they found was that 44% of searches conducted were first-time home buyers. That's awesome. And up 11% from previous year. And 61% of the home buyers are putting down less than 6% towards the purchase of their home. So, and we could kind of go in to, remember last week we had the whole crowdfunding your down payment. So that 6%, that's not a lot of skin in the game. So I think that's really interesting.
That is really interesting. And of course, 6% is the average. So that's why it's not a, 3.5 or 5% or 10% or 20% number that we're all so used to.
Yeah.
But it is showing you that there's a lot of people using a FHA, a lot of people using a 5% conventional. So a lot of first time home buyers. It was interesting the number of searches conducted. How did they, I want to see some details on it. And I know they don't have that many details in the Chase study, but how did they determine first time home buyer? Are they like literally searching how to buy my first house or
maybe it's that simple and we're overthinking it.
Right. And they're probably looking at the search terms used, how to get a mortgage, that kind of thing. I guess maybe if you already had a house, you probably wouldn't be searching how to buy my first house. Maybe you'd be searching for property or something.
You'd probably be searching more, how do I sell my house? And then, then the purchase is part of that, so
it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting statistic. I'm wondering how they gathered the data, but nonetheless, it's interesting given what we talked about last week.
Exactly.
Also, all of the depressing numbers we shared this week, we have some updates on those this week. So first, existing home sales rose 0.7% in September.
Hey,
so the National Association of Realtors reports that after 3 straight monthly declines, existing home sales slightly reversed course in September, but ongoing supply shortages and recent hurricanes muted overall activity and caused sales to fall back on an annual basis, according to the National Association of Realtors. The total housing inventory at the end of September rose 1.6% to 1.9 million existing homes that were available for sale, but still remains at 6.4% lower than a year ago. So we're still at a slight inventory shortage there. And it has fallen year over year for 28 consecutive months. So the number of homes available has fallen for 28 consecutive months. Median home price, $245,000. That's a 4.2% rise, which if you have falling inventory, you're going to have a rise in prices. So it makes sense. In general, this is good news. It is also news that they say has been depressed by the hurricanes, natural disasters, and things like that. So, I mean, we could say it would be better had those natural disasters never happened.
Yeah, that's obviously a hypothetical. So much turmoil and everything happening out there with hurricanes and then fires here in California. To me, it makes it a little bit unstable, and I think it's still holding those sellers back. And I think that's a big concern it's just that, what do we talk about pretty much every week? We're just still not seeing listings,
Right.
So we're going to continue a trend today. Hopefully it's all up because last week was good.
All good news.
But hey, we laugh a lot, so it makes it positive, even though we're saying down numbers. But this one's a big one. So new home sales are up, and this is a big number, 18.9% this September. That's the highest level in 10 years. What was 10 years ago? Big boom, big crash, right? So things were booming and going crazy back then. So this is a pretty big jump. The Commerce Department said on Wednesday, new home sales surged 18.9% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 667,000 units. It's a lot of units. Last month, amid an increase in all 4 regions. That was the highest level since October of 2007 and followed August's upwardly revised sales of 561,000 units. The percent gain was the largest since January 1992. August's sales pace was previously reported at 560,000 units. So they bumped it up a little bit.
Yeah, this is really good news. You remember, I guess it was about a month ago, one of our first stories that we ever did talked about the Builders Confidence Index and how it went down.
Yeah.
But they anticipated it coming back up. It went down after the hurricanes. Maybe it was the second show we ever did. It went down after the hurricanes, but they anticipated it coming back up to record levels. And I think this is why. If you are a home builder, this is a really great market for you to be in. Given all the inventory shortages around the country, you could pretty much build it, and as long as you're pricing it within the range in your market, it should sell, and it should sell pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, for out here, it's pretty simple. If you build it in the right price range and the right upgrades and the right finishes, then you
say it. Are you going to say it? If
what am I going to?
They will come.
I was getting there.
I was so waiting on that.
I knew you're on that page, man. I was going to do a big setup and it was just going to be like a fail at the end. You have to, you got to knock it out of the park though. Here, it's got to be right for the neighborhood. We have some lower end areas, but you can still put nice, updated homes there. It just can't be too nice and it can't be too pricey. And then the higher end stuff, you got to, we had a home builder build some. They're supposed to be high end in a really nice area of California, and they put in lower end finishes and like even linoleum. I'm not even joking, in a $750,000 house. Wow. And everyone saw it walk through. So you got to be smart about it, but that's great, especially with so much craziness happening out there.
That's true. Okay, so speaking of luxury homes, if you are moving up into a luxury home, now is the time. A recent report from Trulia sheds more light on the current market mismatch that may be creating the perfect storm for a luxury home buyer. The market mismatch report shows the difference in the number of people searching for a property and the supply available for that property. Nationally, this mismatch gap has grown as the share of starter and trade-up listings has decreased 45.8% of all listings from 46.5% a year ago. Meanwhile, searches for starter and trade-up homes has risen 60.5% from 55.6%. The inventory of homes for sale in the luxury market far exceeds those searching to purchase these properties in many areas of the country. This means that homes that are often staying on the market longer, which could eventually lead to a price change. That's no doubt what we are seeing here locally. To explain this mismatch report a little better, what they're doing is they're taking, let's say, 50% of people are searching for a starter home, and there's 50% inventory available. That would be a perfect match. So it's zero difference, right?
Yeah.
If there's a difference in that, the number of people searching versus the supply available, then that's how they're calculating. They're just doing the math on that. So like the luxury numbers they showed were a positive 14% or a positive 14 points. It's not really percentages. Right. That's just the difference in the percentages of those searching and those that have it listed. While on the starter homes, I think that was about -8. So that means that there's far more people searching than is actually listed. So that's how they're calculating this. It's a real interesting way to do it. Again, using search. We've actually had 2 stories that use search criteria to determine market factors, which that's new because we've always used lagging indicators. Like we would always look at the average absorption rate over the last year and be able to calculate the average number of buyers versus the current supply. And that's just how we've done it. These companies are actually using current search data. So that's real interesting. I'm wondering the accuracy again, but it's an interesting way to come up with the numbers.
Yeah, it's always been a little more reactive, and now it's a little more current or proactive because they're using current search data of, it's hard to say if it's super legit search data, but I mean, it's got to be with the teaming up with Google and stuff. I mean, they can hone that stuff way down to see what people are actually searching for. I dig it. It helps predict markets a little better.
And just a reminder for everybody that is currently watching, don't forget to make some comments, and we're going to get into some deeper topics. If you just joined us, we're going to talk about Amazon and Walmart and why they want to come into your house without you there. We're going to talk about the iPhone X, Purple Bricks. So if you have any comments on what we're saying now too, feel free to chime in, because we'll put you up on the big board.
I have to. We'll get into it, but I keep having to giggle at. They just want to come into your house. Sure.
Perfect.
Come on in.
There. Here, we got our first comment of the show.
And
comment.
It is comment.
Perfect.
Nice work. Hey, Melanie. All right. So he just kind of led to it, but Purple Bricks. So we did a story on it about a month ago when it was first announced that they were coming to the United States. And remember, Purple Bricks is the flat fee company that charges the seller $3,200 to sell their home. It's in the UK and Australia, and they did really well. But now they have more numbers about it, and I think they're really interesting. So I'll just give you a little bit about it, and then we can expand upon that in a second. So again, 1 month in. It's only been a full month, but every new business starts small. And each new real estate agency starts with one transaction. The numbers are small, but it's important to set them as the foundation for future growth. At the core of Purple Bricks business is the local property agents called local real estate experts in the U.S. After 1 month in the market, Purple Bricks currently has 24 licensed agents operating in the launch market in Los Angeles, California. So that's here. 24 agents, not a huge one, but it's enough of a sampling to show what they're doing. This compares to over 650 local property experts in the UK and over 100 in Australia. So not a ton, but again, enough for a sampling. After 1 month of operation, Purple Bricks US currently has 12 listings, 12 listings. And again, it's just LA. 9 of which are for sale and 3 of which are pending. So 3 have been taken off the shelves and are in the shopping cart ready to be sold. Of its 24 agents, 9 agents have 1 active listing each. 16 currently have no listings. So it's a little bit lopsided there. And again, in isolation, it's a small number, but remember that this is a new business, and getting a new listing every 2.5 days isn't bad for a new entrant into its first month. But, obviously we got to see how it grows from here. I'm going to go into more detail on it because there's a lot of stuff that they didn't say on their launch. But, it's a good start, and it's not super scary. It's not like it's just taking over the world right off the bat. So not too bad.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead and get into the deep dive into the talking points here. We'll start out with the Purple Bricks, since that is kind of the topic that we are on here. It's, discount brokerages are always interesting. Their business models are interesting, basically paying less for the same amount of work as their, it's not ploy. That's not the word I'm looking for.
It is. It's just all a ploy.
Yeah. Basically,
their model, their plan.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan, but it never quite works that way. I think right now the big drum that they're banging is, hey, we have all the access to all this technology. We can use this technology to remove a lot of what the agent does, use this technology to make it a smoother process for both the buyer and seller. And because we're using the technology, we could do it for cheaper. We could do it for less.
Right.
Yes. Or in my opinion, you could also use the technology to provide better service and to maybe get more for your client and faster and just improve all the systems. So I guess there's 2 ways of looking at it. I mean, I personally look at it as, that's what we're doing. We're using the technology and not discounting service, but we're implementing that technology to make the whole process smoother and service our clients better so that they get more like a white glove service that they never had the opportunity to receive before all this amazing technology.
Yeah. And we always just have to have our value proposition, and it just the more and more you do for your client, they're going to understand why we make what we make, and they're going to see it as the results. A little bit of its trust up front. You say my days on market are this much less than others. Right. I get this much more per listing than others. So obviously they need to trust the data. But once it's done, it goes back. How many times have I said it just on here alone? But that goes back to, you're just going to have clients for life, and they're going to be happy that they didn't go discount,
Right. So, and the other side of this coin is, how do they retain talent, right? If you have two people working basically the same job, maybe one's a little bit easier because they're not doing all of the services, but it's a little bit easier, but they're getting paid 1/3 of what they would normally make, because that fee is due whether or not they close, right? So they get paid whether or not the home closes, based on the fee. They make a little bit of money. It's probably 1/4, maybe even 1/8 of what a normal agent makes. But let's say they become very talented in real estate, right? How is a company like Purple Bricks going to retain that talent when they could go elsewhere, service clients differently, make more money?
Exactly. Especially if all the lead gen is coming from the agent and not from Purple Bricks,
Right.
So, but that thing that you mentioned there, again, I don't know if this was released right off the bat, but the business model in the US is similar to the one in the UK. It's the $3,200, excuse me, but I didn't know that there's two parts to this. There's also the typical compensation paid to a buyer's broker. So that's me on the buy side. You're still going to get 2 or 3% that you have to pay to the buy side, which they didn't have those numbers before. But then the biggest thing to me is sellers must pay the fee either up front or at closing, regardless of whether the home sells. I mean, how do you? So I'm going to get paid. I'm not even going to work to sell your house because I don't care. I'm getting $3,200 either way. That to me already is an issue. You know.
Yeah, I'd want my agent to be incentivized and pay him a dime if they didn't actually get it sold.
Exactly. And we don't. If we don't get it sold, there's not one single penny that comes our way. And why not gather 10 listings and hope 3 of them sell, but you're going to get paid on 10 listings with this model. And I think that's a rough one. And maybe I didn't realize that before, but if we're pushing this back towards real estate agents, and I'd make a script around this, how to handle that objection. Well, Purple Bricks, or they're going to call it something funny, Burple Bricks. Right. Oops. They're going to sell my home for 32, and you're saying, your commission on this house would be 6,500, so I can save money. Yeah, but they take that commission either way. Do you really think they're going to work that hard, and be that motivated when they're getting paid either way? You know what I mean? Yep.
Great points all around.
Yeah, I think that's just super interesting. This is definitely one to watch.
Okay, so let's go to the next story. It's going to be a softball for you because I think I know your answer. So are you buying an iPhone X? I can't believe it. We kind of already hinted at this debate before, but it's coming up. I think before our next show, we'll have the opportunity to purchase an iPhone X or not. But the reason why I wanted to talk to you about it is because you said something really interesting after we were off the air last time.
I did?
Yeah.
That's
and you were
weird.
talking about agents that will buy the iPhone X.
This is just disappointing.
Because you're already there.
Okay, so with a brokerage like ours, we like to offer a lot of different things. It's not a pitch for our brokerage, but we like to offer a lot of things, and we also push people. And we say you have to have A, B, and C. You have to have a business card. You have to have open house signs. You have to have for sale signs. But there's a lot of agents that fight that. They don't put the money into their own business, and then they wonder why it doesn't take off. They just won't do the foundational stuff, and it's maybe $3,000-$4,000 to get it all set up. But then you have the basics, and your foundation is there. So my point was, there's agents that won't do that stuff, but they're going to go full on and buy the $1,200 iPhone X. Maybe it's an excuse.
Call clients. If I can't call clients, then I can't work.
I can't do that on my 7. It's the phone stopped. I got to go. I got to get the next new thing. And your point, I think you said it on during the actual show, which was, or maybe we said it off air. I don't know. But your mentality is, well, I'm going to work harder, so that's an affordable phone to me. It's going to be a blip on my map, but I just know there's a lot of agents, and I can name a bunch of them right now that will get this phone, but then complain they don't have any business because they don't have open house signs or they don't have for sale signs. And I think that's a little bit backwards.
Okay, I'm going to slide you off the screen here to share my side of the story. That's right. So we for us, we produce a lot of content, a lot of video, a lot of audio, a lot of fantastic photos and that kind of thing. So the advances that the iPhone X is making in that department could make it worth it, especially for things like the augmented reality and those things that are already built in. So I would say if you are on the cutting edge of technology, then this could be a viable phone for you to use, and one that I think if you're looking to upgrade from an iPhone 4 because you've been saving your money for years for a different phone, I would say that this is the one to purchase. But I'm wondering how much supply they're going to have, because from what I'm hearing, they're having to ramp up some of the production levels in order to meet the demand. They thought the iPhone 8 was going to sell better than it did. It didn't. So I think it didn't because there's so many people that are going to shell out the $1,200 to $1,400 to $1,500 for this iPhone X. Yeah.
And honestly, man, I have my issues with Apple and stuff, but I agree with you on all that, because we may have talked about it before, which, agents that just go through and they take iPhone photos and they're just not good. And they're all portrait, not landscape. This phone could, there you go. She's more excited about the Galaxy X.
Samsung Galaxy.
This could change that, because, this camera is supposed to be insane. They've always had a great camera on that phone. So it could change it that way. Augmented, the VR stuff, the virtual reality, the augmented reality. I totally get all that. I have my issues with that, or with just purchasing the phone when you haven't purchased. If you've legit been, holding on to your iPhone 4, dude, all day long, buy this 10.
Update. Yeah. But you make a valid point about, making purchases that aren't necessarily tied directly to making a difference in your business, while ignoring those things that you do need to purchase, like maybe accounting software to track your money so that you know where it's going. Just even like simpler things, just to, go ahead and make your company a business and register it locally. Probably costs a couple $100, but so many agents avoid doing that. And then they pay out the wazoo when it comes for tax time. Yeah. So there's some real simple things that you can do to make it where you could save enough to purchase the phone. But,
and I think it could make a difference. This year, I made the decision, because we do a lot of our own marketing. So I took the plunge. It might have been 2 years ago, but to pay for Photoshop. So it's ours. We control everything, and it's been huge. Right. And I don't even feel the cost now. So, if you're doing all that, then I say, but I also worry about, I don't want to go too long on this, but that increased production thing, like every single update, people always have an issue with their iPhones. So I really worry about that first gen of these X's, what's going to really be going on with them. So I guess we'll have to see.
The first gen of these X's.
Yeah.
Well said. Well,
I don't even know I did that. Wow.
Okay. All right. So let's get into the next topic. Amazon. Amazon and Walmart want to enter your home to put their orders away. So Walmart announced this, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. They announced because they have these fresh markets and things like that. So whenever you get a Walmart delivery, especially if it has like groceries and things like that, instead of leaving it on your porch or trying to put it somewhere, they will actually enter your home, and you can let them in. They'll enter your home, they'll put it up in your fridge for you, and then they'll leave. And they said that, it's great for people with monitoring, so you can watch them go in and out and that kind of thing. And, people that have the electric locks can let them in. So I would say there was a blowback about that. The market did not receive that well. There were a lot of people that said things like, one of the most famous tweets was a guy that said, "I don't trust Walmart employers at the store, much less in their house." But I think some of these may be, different delivery companies. They're probably well vetted. So although that was a funny tweet, it probably wasn't an accurate representation of how they're operating.
Right. Yeah.
So when we look at the details about how they're actually operating, it could be useful. What's the difference in letting in a maid or a real estate agent to show your home, perhaps, right? We go into vacant homes all the time where the sellers leave, and then we take other people in their house and tour it. Yeah. So what really is the difference? Then Amazon just released their version of this. It works with a cloud, an Amazon cloud service, works with an Amazon lock. It has an Amazon camera, and you can watch them. Now, you don't have to have the camera, but this is one that you don't get a notification and let them in. they go there and they are let in by the lock, and the lock
Yeah.
can see the package is there that you're expecting. The package and the lock associate with each other, and the lock says, hey, this is a package we're expecting. It opens the door for you. They slide it into the house. They shut the door. So for them, this is less about fresh food, though. Now that they've bought Whole Foods, this could be an application for fresh food. For them, it is more about the porch pirates is what they're called.
Yeah.
So in our area, we don't have a lot of Amazon delivery. It's mainly third parties. Of course, if you want to know funny stories, just look up Amazon in Little Rock. You'll hear all kinds of things about something that recently happened here for that. So we don't have Amazon delivery people. It would be a third-party person. This has not been rolled out to third-party people yet. But those are kind of the details. So Dan, would you let Walmart or Amazon into your house to make a delivery without you being there?
No. Simple. But so is part of your and I have a joke. I'm going to build up to a joke here just so you guys know. But as part of all this lock and the camera and letting them in, is that all part of your service? Or do you have to pay for it?
You have to order that for the lock and the camera is about $250. And I bet there's a continuing service charge for it to be hooked up to the cloud and kind of like a security thing. Now, this is not a security system.
Right.
It's just for this purpose.
I mean, for a business model, I think that's genius. Come up with a thing that people want and then come up with technology that says, I'll make it safer. You know, that this is how it's going to get in. The package is going to be, linked to that lock, and only that package can be let in. And, then they have to be out within 30 seconds or whatever. And by the way, have you heard what they're calling this new product?
Oh, what is it?
Amazon Crime.
You're like cracking yourself up.
It's so good. I've been waiting to say that for like 5 minutes, and I can't take credit for that joke. I saw it on another thread.
That's so good, though.
Yeah, it was real. I laughed at it for sure. I mean, maybe this is just. I'm usually kind of.
They just take what they need.
Yeah, it's a free service. You don't even know what what you don't need any longer. They decide for you while you're at work and handling things. Yeah. So I just I've always been kind of one, like I said, with the first generation of stuff. Like I'm always I wait to see what happens. Like Ray, I think you're going to buy a first gen of the 10, right?
Right.
So I'll wait. Yeah, if you can, I'll wait to see what happens. I always kind of wait. So maybe it's the old crotchety dude in me, born in the 70s, early 70s, that is that like, but I'd rather see kind of what happens, and maybe it's just going to be a thing, and that's just what happens in the future, and I have to become accustomed to it. You know what I mean? But as of now, no. Okay,
so for me, I would probably let them in as of now. I would rather let them in the first gen than when they have 100,000 delivery people all over the U.S.
That's interesting.
Right? Because the story to break now that your delivery person stole the wallet from the side table that you had left that morning, right?
It was sitting right there. They're in and out in 30 seconds, and there was the package and the grab,
That would be a huge news story right now. So I would actually, in this case, I would probably prefer the first gen rather
that makes
than
sense.
Way down the road. Now, down the road, if they start to get lax on their vetting and things like that, I don't know. I don't know if I'd continue to do it. But, if I can watch them every time, make sure I look at the phone as soon as they're in. If I have that ability, I would feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But we're getting some comments. Let me post some of the comments up here. Cool. So Billie Jean says, Walmart, heck no. Amazon, sure. Y'all come on in. Let's go.
I like that. I'd love to know why the gap in between,
Yeah, that is interesting. Why do we perceive Amazon as better than Walmart or less likely to take our stuff? I guess that's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Tim Macy, he brings up a great point. We would have thought it was crazy to go let strangers pick us up for rides all the time.
I mean, aren't taxis strangers though?
Yeah, but for years people wouldn't use taxis for that reason. They kind of felt weird getting in a taxi. But taxi drivers have been way more vetted than Uber. And people, I take Ubers all the time without thinking about it.
Yeah, and they've all been nice. All of them that I've ever taken, they've all been great. Everyone.
Rob Hallmark said he might let Amazon in the drivers keep the same areas every day, can meet the driver. So I guess he's saying if he became accustomed to who his delivery person was and developed that relationship, then he would feel comfortable with it. And truly, most of the people that would be doing this are going to be people from our area. Hopefully, they're well paid, because in order to cut down on loss, they would have to be well paid. Because it's just too tempting.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. Kind of like, when you get to know your UPS driver or your mail carrier. I think that is an interesting point. But
I wonder if the question was kind of like, would you ever let your UPS guy, who's always coming to your house, would you ever let him open the door and slide a package in?
Sure, but I know that guy. So that's why I think that's such an interesting point. If you get to know that guy, yeah, totally. It makes more sense. It's just so many variables can go happen, because I have had issues with big companies. I don't need to necessarily say names, but where they have like an outside contractor working for a company that is contracted by the big company, and those I've had only sketchy experiences. So that's why I'd worry about that.
Yeah,
that's a little bit.
Irene also brought the Uber and Lyft too. Background checks. Yeah, if they got background checks of all the people that were delivering stuff, then I would say I'd be way more likely to let them in the house. And, because I'm thinking from a real estate agent, we all know there's some agents that shouldn't be going into people's houses alone. Yet they have a key and they can get in, and it's tracked, and we know who that person is that entered the house with that key. So maybe it is tied to the person's cell phone or something like that, and it's very trackable. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it, I think. Now, I don't really necessarily want them going to my fridge and stocking stuff because I'm OCD about that. If they start to, like, if you put the milk on the wrong shelf, I'm going to be like,
drive me
insane. They would hate going in there too, because if I did that, I'd have all the shelves labeled, and they'd be looking through like, oh, where do I put the celery? it'd be terrible for them.
They would just say, like, I'm not going to that house again. And one last thing I know we got to move on from. Maybe there would be, like with Uber, people keep bringing up Uber. Maybe there's a rating system on all these drivers. And not only are you getting the same one consistently, but you're seeing that this person will be the one delivering it. You get to look through their profile real quick and past reviews.
Yep.
That might help.
Ooh, yeah, if the delivery person's reviewed.
Yes.
Or maybe if they use third-party services for this and they had a special Amazon lock, then that third-party delivery service would have to buy the lock. And then people can rate those services, right? So you have your own local service. Amazon doesn't have to hire a bunch of people around the country, and yet you're able to rate those local services and see how they're doing. That could actually work.
Yeah, so if you're looking through reviews and it says, dude stole my stuff, all right, you don't want that. You can tell that guy not to come into your house.
Yeah, I think we've all seen reviews of movers that are like, they broke half the things they delivered. They don't stay in business very long.
Nope. Maybe it could work. Maybe I'm coming around during just this last 5 minutes, but probably not, though.
That's right. All right, so let's get to our picks of the week. Position for those of you.
We still haven't worked on it at all.
I'm finding some. I want to find some sounders and bumpers and things like that. So I'm testing out a couple of apps for that. So that's going to be cool. Nice. So we'll have a little bit better audio experience for those of you listening now or later. But yeah, the transitions, that's a whole different beast. But we'll get there.
Yeah, and sorry guys, no matter what, you're still going to have to look at my face. Just sorry.
That's a joy for everyone involved.
Oh yeah, no. Do you want me to go first on my pick?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not really a pick necessarily, as it is more of a motivational thing. But this was inspired by me because by our business, because we have a new property video that we just shot last week and now it's here. So I started thinking about it, and I just wanted to kind of go through, like, first of all, if you're not doing unique property videos, then you should start doing that. That's kind of, if we go back to, we've touched on it a couple of times, that should just be a basic part of what you offer to your sellers. It should just be part of your package. It's going to depend on markets. I don't know if all markets, it's hard to say across, our great nation, if they all need this, if they all require this, but at least there could be some sort of, personality or some sort of, even if you're just doing your own videos in front of the house, just to get your own brand out there. You are your brand. I've said that a lot. But we've been experimenting with videos for like 3 years, and they've stepped up and they've changed and they've gone, and now we've kind of honed it in, and we're just getting so much good traction for it, and And the way we say it to sellers, potential sellers, is we're going to make your house famous. And every single listing gets its own little, we call them skits. You get your own little comedy skit, and we're going to make your house famous. And again, when you're battling against like Purple Bricks, I know they're not doing this, and they're saying $3,200. They're keeping it either way, and we're saying no. We're going to have a whole film crew here, you know. And again, you don't have to go necessarily as big as we do. This has been 3 years in the making, and this is the first year we're doing all this. But I just kind of wanted to throw it out there that you should be doing some sort of video, because honestly, in my markets at least, there's just not a ton of agents that do video at all. And then when they do, it's not really unique. It's just the same kind of drone will go here, and then it's a cool pan shot of the cool kitchen, and then, you know. But if you can make it unique and add some personality to it in any way, it really, really works for us. And you know, I think we all have our own personalities. I think you should be sharing it. I really do. So that's kind of my pick / motivational speech for the week.
That's cool. I like it. Unique property videos. For my pick of the week, I'm also going to share my own videos. No. So we actually did a unique video, and it was a property video. We did it recently. So I will shout it out. If you haven't seen the homeowners video.
Oh, that's great. See,
yeah.
It's so
You
good.
saw that, right?
It's so good. And it's just simple. I think it was 15 seconds.
Yeah. 15 seconds because we had the bumper at the end. Yeah.
Yep. And you didn't even speak in it. It's absolutely perfect.
You just have to look it up on our page or on my page. It's called Homeowners. Also check out Dan's page. We'll get to where you can find us in a bit. So for my pick of the week, a lot of people wonder how we keep all of our, because we produce a ton of content. A lot of people wonder how we keep our content straight. We use an app called Trello. Have you ever heard of this app?
I have not.
I'm going to see if you can focus in on it. There's Trello. It's terribly out of focus. And we have a board called Content. And on that content board, it's loading there. So there's some of our content, and we could just slide through. These are different shows, different blogs, different plans.
Oh, that's cool.
We're doing. But there's the homeowner video.
Yeah.
So there's the still shot for it. You'll have to watch this on your own time, though. So each card, my videographer has access to, the assistants have access to, my buyer specialist. So these are the property videos. These aren't unique. These are just kind of normal property videos, but they're high quality. And so our buyer specialist will go do the property video. We use this to help us schedule it. We also have a show called Home Sweet Arkansas. So we keep all that content, episode 1 and 2 on that. So this is like every column is a show or a piece of content for us. And that's been really useful and just kind of keeping up with everything that's happening. We also started to use it for our listings when we just have them listed, because we have a marketing plan for each listing. So we will follow that marketing plan and just check off the things as they are completed. We also have a daily rundown where I'll meet with the marketing coordinator, transaction coordinator. We go through each of those to see where we are in each of the files, what's been marketed, what hadn't been marketed, to ensure that everybody's getting the exposure that we need. So,
and can everyone have access to it, or you just kind of like, how is it like Google Drive or something where you can all be on your own device, but then you're just part of that same account?
Yep. It's so you would make your own account, and then I would invite you. For instance, let's say we started using that for this show. I would invite you to be on that, and then we can have our episode rundowns and things like that on there instead of using the Google Drive.
That's pretty cool.
It doesn't have a document, like you would make a link to a document in it. It doesn't have like document creation or anything like that, but you can upload some small videos. They have a free account. They have a paid account. We get the most out of the free account that we can. I think I upgraded for 1 or 2 months for pay because it was like $4 a month just to try it out.
Yeah, that's worth it.
I think it discontinued after that time period, after my little trial. And I don't think I noticed it discontinuing because the features that we enjoyed were like cosmetic features. And now they've rolled out a lot of those cosmetic features, like you could choose your own backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the basic functionality, it's the old doing, done boards that we've heard. That's kind of where Trello got its idea, to move a card from do to doing, then from doing to done.
Yeah.
And then you can archive it when you no longer need it. That's kind of how we use it. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Very efficient. Our videographers in there, graphics guys will be in there. Everybody that needs to develop the content is on the content board. And then we have a separate board for listings and a separate board for under contract and things that are pending. And we just slide those down the process. So just went under contract. Now we have all the paperwork done. They made full loan application. Now they've done inspection, and we just kind of continue to slide people down.
Well, it can keep you on a schedule too. And the thing I really dig about it is, because we have meetings every week, and there's so many things. Talking about new videos and talking about new listings and buyers, and we try to get this all out and the new content we want to create. Excuse me. But then it's all, and we note everything. It all goes into our drive. We all share it. But then that email comes through, like whoever has invited you to. But then if you don't go to it right away, that email gets pushed down. With the app, you can just open it up and go, oh, I had to go over and do this. I think that's pretty cool, because we do have, we'll have the whiteboards up with, kind of what's happening here. This is like essentially a whiteboard of the doing done right there on your phone. That's pretty rad.
Digitally, and you can take it anywhere you want. So
I
started with the basic doing done, and then we kind of have morphed our use. There's also things like you get super advanced with it. There's something that my transaction coordinator found called Butler Bot. And Butler Bot will do things automatic for you. So we have it set to apply tasks automatically to cards that are added to certain boards. So as soon as I move a card from the listing board to the under contract board, it adds me to it. It adds a transaction coordinator to it, and it adds 2 lists: one list of documents and one list of to-dos throughout the process of the transaction automatically.
So it kind of tags them in, so to speak.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. And the other thing is, if you forget to do it, you don't know, oh, I got to go back to the office and physically move that card. No, you can just, be sitting at Starbucks like, oh, I got to move it, and then it'll tag that in. That's pretty rad, man. I like that tip.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so unique property videos, Trello. Any other thoughts before we end the show?
Absolutely none. I have spoken too much.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Dan, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
As always, I'm D. Ledward Rocks everywhere. So on all the major forms of social media, Etsy, PayPal, all those sorts of things. Are those the major forms? No. D. Ledward Rocks, DLUDWIGROCKS. And then if you wanted to see us, go to our videos. It's just theswodekgroup.com. Our newest one is there. They're all public. You can check them out if you haven't. We love feedback on all this stuff. Obviously, Ray and I do. So find us, please.
Yep. And you can find me by Googling the Ray Allen Group. And then when Google says, do you mean the famous basketball all-star Ray Allen? You say, no, I mean Ray Allen. That's the easiest way to find me, but you can also search me on most of the social channels by Ray Zorbach. That's R-A-Y Zorbach. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks for checking it out, and be sure to check out the homeowner video.
Seriously, go check it out. It's brilliant. And it's short. It's easy. It's perfect. I love it. Nice work.
You'll never look at homeowner again the same way.
Nope.
Right, bye, everybody.
Bye.